Hello, I'm John from FitKit Systems. I'd like to introduce you to our saddle height tool, and this is one of the tools that make up the full FitKit set of tools. As the name suggests, it's used for measuring saddle height, and it does so from the pedal up to the top of the seat. The tool is made up of a pivoting end, a telescoping tube, a scale, and a top piece. To use the tool, we locate the bottom pivoting piece down on the pedal spindle next to the crank. Extend the tool up and drop the top piece across the saddle. To measure the height, I'm lining up the crank arm with the seat tube and the seat post, and I'm making sure that the top piece of the tool is level using a little bubble that's on top here. At this stage I can just twist to lock the tool and then take it off, and I can see here in centimetres and millimetres the full length from pedal spindle up to seat height. So the tool is designed down here to measure off a standard Shimano 105 pedal spindle of a certain diameter. Now pedals will vary in the diameter of the pedal axle, so for example a speed play pedal, just happen to have one of those right here, will often be a lot narrower, so I'll reference this one off the wider part closer to the crank. So if you're measuring from bike to bike with different pedals, then there will be a difference in the absolute height. But if you're measuring from bike to bike with the same type of pedal, then that measurement will be consistent. A few things to pay attention to is lining up the crank with the seat tube and up to the seat post. Now where you measure to on the top of the seat will vary from person to person or bike fitter to bike fitter. I measure to directly above the seat post. Some fitters will measure the length of the saddle, divide that in half and measure to the halfway mark. Some may use a gauge to measure across to a certain width of the saddle, maybe we're at 70 or 80 millimetres wide and measure there. Some may reference a certain distance back from the nose, or some may reference a certain distance in from the tail of the saddle. It doesn't absolutely matter which reference point on the saddle is used for the measurement, provided you're consistent in terms of how you go about doing it. How do we use the seat height tool? It's got a number of different applications. One is as part of the FitKit system of sizing people up for a bike and setting an initial seat height. We'll take measurements from foot length and leg length and calculate a seat height, and we'll set the seat according to that height. So in that case we're actually dialing in a seat height to start with and then adjusting the saddle to that particular height. We can also use it to document a seat height in a bike fit before, during or after a bike fit. So we've got a reference as to how the bike came in the door and how we send it back out again. The do-it-yourself cyclist at home with a fleet of bicycles can use this tool to set the same seat height from one bike to another bike to another bike, so they have a consistent seat height. A bike mechanic may use it to determine a seat height if they then have to change the seat post height to either change the seat post out or to mount the bike in a work stand and need to extend or lower the seat. So this can be used to put it back in the same place again. As well as measuring seat height, we can use this for a few other measurements. We can measure seat height directly from the ground, and we could also measure handlebar drop from the ground and subtract those two numbers, and we'd end up with a saddle to bar drop. So we're just seeing what the scale is at both the saddle height from ground and handlebar height from ground and subtracting those two numbers. So it's got application for bike fitters, for people at home with a fleet of bicycles that they want to set up in the same way, for bike mechanics who are making some adjustments and want to get the fit position back in the same place on the bicycle. If you don't already have one of these tools, you can purchase them directly online through fitkitsystems.com. If you have any questions about the product or any other FitKit Systems product, please contact me through the website.